We're going to kick things off, everybody. You are in the right place. Gold Rush. Turn your database from a ghost town into a boom town. Make sure you guys are taking notes. Share this with your friends. If you want them to hear some amazing insights that we're about to share with you, text them, email, and call them. Send them the link. Tell them to jump on. It's going to be some fun stuff. Why don't we start with introducing who we are? My name is Alex Kutsishin. I'm co-founder, CEO here at Sales Boomerang. I will be moderating this panel about this conversation, turning your database from ghost town to boom town. Got Tim Nguyen here, CEO of BeSmartee. Say hi, Tim.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on, Alex.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Thanks for making the time for this. And of course, Josh Friend, CEO of Insellerate.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here, Alex. Thanks for putting this together.
If you would have stayed one more day, you would have
one more day, we could have done this together, right?
We just stood right next to each other.
Next time.
All right. next time for sure. Now remember, guys, this should be interactive. We're going to be giving you information, but do not hesitate to ask questions and engage. And of course, we're going to try and save some time to answer some questions that may come up that we don't answer during the conversation towards the end of this. Well, we're going to start with a poll right off the bat. Do you feel like your tools enable you to anticipate your borrower's next need for a loan? So do you have the tools to let you know how to anticipate, how to know what your customer may want or need before they call or email or text or go to the market to start looking for someone to help them? Do you guys have the tools? Let's pop up that survey. So there are your questions, right? So we're going to take a minute while you guys are answering this, and then Josh and Tim and I will review your answers and see what we come up with. Again, the question: do you feel like your tools enable you to anticipate, right? We're living in an environment right now where it's very important to understand what your customer may need, right? Want may be a little challenging, right? Wants are more of get to know your customer, which you should ask them questions, understand their goals and their purpose and their vision and all that. Very important to know what they want. But in this environment, and really in future environments too, the needs are really important, critically important, right? While they're answering these questions, Tim or Josh, any thoughts on how important it is to know what your customers may need?
I think right now for lenders, it's extremely important, right? I mean, we had record years for the last couple of years, volumes are coming down, and borrower retention is still somewhere we lag in the industry. The average lender only gets 18% of their customers back. So absolutely, you want to be in business and be thriving, you have to be, in front of your customers, not reactive, but you need to be proactive with your customers.
That's right. That's exactly right. And we see some of the best. Let's get those results, Nicole. I think everybody had enough time to answer. Let's get those results. But I agree, in some of the best, and we'll talk about those in a second, that always focus on understanding their customers' needs. So look, do you feel like the tools enable to anticipate the loan? Yes, always. 0 people said yes, always. So you guys are in the right place. No wonder you're at on this webinar. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And no, my tools just confuse me. Okay, at least that's the smallest percentage was no, they just confuse me. So sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Again, you guys are in the right place. Do you think your POS is improving your ability to close the leads coming in? Yes, every time. Fantastic. That's a 6%. So guess what, Tim? We're gonna have some things to talk about, right? Like this is only 6% said that. It occasionally helps me, and no, I don't know how to use it, which is 31%. In my opinion, Tim, that's a pretty large number, no?
That is significant. We'll definitely have to deep dive on that.
Yeah, well, that's good. We're gonna make sure we cover that topic. And if you have more thoughts on that, make sure you put them into the chat. And do you think your CRM is fully optimized? Josh, my goodness, this has to be, alarm bells have to be ringing. 0% on the, this is great. So this is why you guys are here. It's good, but could be better. No, please help me. All right, so look, let's move forward and address some of these things. Like when you see some of these responses, Tim, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Did you hear me, Tim? I'm sorry. I don't know if I cut out for you.
What's the first... I didn't hear you, Josh.
Yeah,
Alex, go ahead.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when you see those responses? Like, what's the thing that kind of, is the first thing that you have to think about when you see the responses?
I mean, the first thing globally, right? When I look at all 3 answers, it's surprising that no one's really bullish on the current tools that they have. It tells me there's a lot of work to be done from a vendor perspective and lender perspective. We got to work together. Tool is one thing, but not knowing how to use that tool, not knowing how to leverage it in the right time, in the right place, that's a whole new game, right? That's something we got to get better at.
Yep.
You know, specifically with POS, I'd say, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. You know, I tell everyone, being a POS vendor, I'll be the first to say, you don't need a POS to close a loan.
Mm.
Okay.
Well said.
You can close a loan over the phone, in person, through relationships. That can be done. There's a time and place to use a POS. And I'll be also be the first to say, if you got a bar on the phone, you got an opportunity, you are the POS. Take that application. Don't let that opportunity slip. But there's an opportunity to use the POS when people are busy, when people want trend, you know, they want something visual. They want to do work on their own time. It's a different type of bar where they're in a crunch at, you know, 10 p.m. on a Friday. They got a showing in the morning. Realtor won't meet with them unless there's an approval letter. That's where your POS becomes really valuable. So you can,
Well, yeah, it's like saying to him, you know what, you really don't need planes. You can drive from California to Maryland if you want to, but there is technology that makes things easier, more efficient, gets you to where you want to go faster. So yes, you may not need those things. And yes, listen to what Tim said. You guys should know this. If you have a customer on the phone, take the app over the phone, of course. Don't make them take another step. So, but it's critically important to use the resources and tools that you have in front of you. So let's jump into the next topic and keep this thing moving. What percentage of your purchase leads actually convert to closed loans? Internet purchase leads, 2 to 6% turn into funded loans. 1 in 4 pre-approval turns into funded loan in 9 months. So, Josh, let me get some of your thoughts on this.
I mean, I think this is a stat that we had come up with. And I mean, we handle 500,000 new applications a month through the platform, 3 to 4 million prospects a month. So we have a pretty good handle on what the conversions look like. And what we're really finding is those lenders who are more coordinated with their tech stacks, the ones that have the workflows all thought out, there's no drop points. Tim, your point, you don't need a POS to do a loan, but you need a POS to be really successful in this industry right now. Right. So you have, you know, the ones that have all those things in place, the other ones are convert. We actually have some that convert at 10% or more, but this is, we're giving averages here, you know, average lenders between 2 to 6%. So it's really important to have that, just that technology I'll put in place. And then long-term, 9 months is the number we saw. 1 in 4 pre-approvals on average, about 9 months turn into a funded transaction.
Wow.
So again, that lets you know that you as a lender, you need to be thinking long-term with your customers. Right. So many lenders are thinking just short-term transactional. It's transaction-based versus relationship-based. And I think this really shows you have to get to the relationship-based lending and build relationships, because if it's a 9-month process, come on, you go on the internet, we all do. How many different people offer you and I a mortgage on a daily basis, right? So if it's a 9-month process to buy that house, everyone and their sister is calling your borrower, right? You know, you don't have any exclusive with this person yet until it's a closed loan. So that engagement becomes really important then.
And this just points to everyone. If you're hearing this now, like 2 to 6% get funded, and in a 9-month long cycle, this is how vital and important it is to know your customer base and know what's happening to them, being able to anticipate. This is the first question that we started with. And somebody just asked Dylan, it just asked the question, where's your financial friend, you know, with benefits shirt? This is very important, because Josh said an interesting word. He says, it's got to be a relationship industry. Well, guys, the reason we made the shirt that says financial friend, the word friend embodies relationship, communication, trust, relationship, communication, trust. If something takes 9 months and you don't have that, you're not going to have that customer. That's a long time between closing, starting a relationship, and closing. So you have to understand and anticipate things, and you have to use the workflows and technologies like what Tim was saying. You don't have to use a POS. But what is the experience like for your customer if you don't even have an option, and 9 months goes by and they got to start over, right? They got, the process may need to begin. You may not want to start over the phone. You may want to send a link and get the conversation started. So look, we're getting deeper and deeper into this conversation. It's the importance of understanding your customer, understanding their needs, knowing that the cycle may be much longer. We're coming off 2 years of just stamp, right? Deals left and right. Now, people are a little bit more cautious. People are thinking about, you know, I'm looking at this house. I want to get this house. My goodness, I can't get this house. I'm looking at this house. I can't get this house. Guess what they're doing? Cash out, refis, and they're building their dream homes. And inside their house, they're creating their existing home into a dream home, because they can't get out of it anymore, because they're either priced out or the house they wanted is now gone. All right, question number 2 here. Why should mortgage advisors focus on mining or farming their existing database rather than on expanding their database. I want to throw this question to both of you guys in just a second, but I want to make a comment about, I was just at a conference and Jen Duplessis was speaking, and she said, instead of more leads, convert more of the ones you have. That's what she said. Instead of just continuously buying and getting new things in, she said, convert more of what you have. That's how she was one of the top 1% originators, is because that's what she focused on. She focused on her customer base. So what do you think, Tim? Like, why should mortgage advisors focus on their customer base and their existing database and not always look outward for their opportunity?
Yeah, the math adds up. The cost to acquire a brand new relationship, someone that doesn't know you, you don't know them, then to go through that process with them takes a lot of time and commitment, right? It's dollars, it's opportunity cost. But if you have someone that trusts you already, and you maintain that relationship, and you mine that relationship, and you farm that relationship, that cost of acquisition, right? That cost of funding loan is dramatically lower. You don't have to prove yourself again. What you do have to do is continue adding value. And that's what I love about the relationship we have, the vendors we have on this, conversation. It's this POS data that we have. Where did they stop? What were they looking for? What was their behavior? It feeds the analytics that Sales Boomerang and Insellerate can mine through and re-engage and get the predictive analytics in your hands.
Have you seen, Josh, that's a great point, Tim. Josh, have you seen through your system some analytic statistics about the difference of new leads? Because you said you guys have millions of prospects coming into your system every month versus what's happening within the database. Do you have any statistics that show or any information that shows, hey, we're seeing a difference in conversion? There's a larger chance of conversion when it's coming from within the database versus what's coming from the outside. Do you have any statistics on that?
I don't have anything I think large I could share. What I can say though is, as we've looked through the last 2 years, unfortunately, most lenders want for new and more versus improving the relationships they have with their existing. It just is the way it went. So that kind of repeat business. And I think Tim said it, which I always say it like this, right? So I've been in the mortgage industry for 23 years. I was a lender. I trained loan officers, and I said, listen, if you have someone on the phone who's giving you their social security number, their date of birth and all the information, you have trust.
Yes.
And they really don't want to give that out. I don't want to give out my social security number to more people than I ever have to. So if you can put yourself in that trust position by doing a transaction, and as long as you did a good job, that didn't piss them off or something, you're in a position to get that business over and over again. And Tim, you're right, it's cheaper.
Yeah, trust
6 to 7 times cheaper.
Right?
Go ahead,
Trust
Tim.
could be developed through a relationship. It's also in the way you conduct business, right? And what I mean by that is, if you're asking someone to text you a picture of their pay stubs or their W-2s or social security numbers on it, or email through Gmail or Yahoo Mail, you're not building trust, right? So it's not just trust, it's not just being able to conversate with someone and build rapport, but it's the way you conduct your business, the way you gather data, the way you present data. That helps build that layer of trust that you can build upon.
100%. And guys, we're also talking about experience. Trust is also about experience. What's the experience you're giving your customers? So you have all these people inside that have trusted you inside your database, customer base. You may have even turned them down, but they've given you a chance to earn their business. What is the experience you're giving them? Are you having some automation? Are you having some ease of use? Very important. Experience. People would pay more for experiences. We just saw that 86% of consumers said they'd rather pay more for a better experience than get a cheaper price. 86%, that's not a small number. All right, let's keep going, guys. By the way, jump into the chat, get active. If we're talking about things, agree, disagree, challenge us. Let's get this conversation active. So next question, this is a poll, guys. So this is going to be a yes or no poll. Do you think your POS is improving your ability to close the leads coming in? Do you feel that your POS is improving your ability to close the leads that are coming in? Nicole, let's throw this one up. Yes, Dylan, great point. Honesty plus experience equals trust. That's exactly right. Honesty plus experience equals trust. Oh, did we already do, did this system throw all 3 of them up by accident right away?
Yeah.
Is that what happened? Oh man. Okay. So look, so at least we get to review the results again and talk about it. So let's do this. Do you think your POS is improving your ability to close more leads? Tim, this is for you. 6% say yes. 63% says occasionally, and 31 say no. What is, let's go back to that.
I'll be honest, Alex, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
We do about 90,000 applications every single month here, right? And when we look at the adoption in an individual client, obviously the consumer direct, it's very heavy adoption. Traditional retail, the adoption starts dipping. We see as low as 30%, but some cases we see as high as 80, 90%. Okay. The biggest thing here is if I give you a tool, you're not gonna, right? If I give you Microsoft Word, you're not gonna give me Shakespeare. Unless I show you how to write, unless I show you how to tell a story, right? And that's the missing link here. A POS goes beyond just a 1003, first and foremost, okay? But even if it's just a 1003, what's the right opportunity? When do you use it? How do you use it, right? And this takes, your vendor, your POS vendor should be listening to the way you originate, the way you market, the way you sell, what your business strategies are. Only when we truly understand the way that you're trying to approach the market is can we help you say, okay, this is how you want to use the POS. This is where you want to put your call to action, right? So I think if we focus on the applicability of the tool, how do you actually use the tool? You'll see that those numbers will change. It'll become an important part of your arsenal. It won't be the only thing you'll use to close loans, but it'll be a very important tool in your tool belt. Now, the other thing I'll say too is if your POS is just doing a 1003 capture, exchanging documents, it's a great start, but that's not a digital mortgage. That's not a digital experience, right? Like in a good POS should be able to provide back product and pricing, whether automatically or presented manually, fees, integrated disclosures, paying for your appraisals, automated credit. It needs to give you the efficiencies so that you as a loan officer can focus on the relationship that takes so long to build and a relationship that can get destroyed in an instant.
See, I feel like when you say those things to him, I feel like it's strange. When I see somebody say only 6% say, hey, yes, it helps. That to me, you're not surprised. I'm shocked by it. I feel like a POS helps close more deals than using just over the phone documentation. I see your face there, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, there's two parts to it, right? There's the ability to intake more applications, and then there's the back end part of it, the ability to use automation tools to service those applications. And ultimately, as a loan officer, you want to focus on the deals that yield the most results. The consumers that can truly value and use your help. That's what a POS does. It allows you to cut through the opportunity cost. Josh, I didn't mean to interrupt, but feel free.
Yeah, no, I think kind of echoing Tim, what you said about a couple of things. One, I want to actually say this for POS adoption. We have lenders that are on BeSmartee and call centers and some retail, their loan officers will take and do the application through BeSmartee versus going into Encompass because it's easier. It's an easier process. So I mean, we're seeing adoption because it is easier to go through BeSmartee POS and get product pricing and eligibility, right? Because all you have to do is fill out information versus you go into Encompass, you have to check boxes, pull in fees, double, there's a lot of work to it. And then, so we do see that. And I think that's to what you just said, Tim, is why do I think a lot of lenders people are not using POSs? I think there's a lot of POSs out there that aren't really POSs. They're just lead capture forms. Same thing that we had in 1999 when I was in the business. Put some information in there, he'll give you a little bit of information back, and that's all. Right? A POS should be, I want to be able to go online. I want to get my price in. I want to get my disclosures. I want to say move forward and send over my paperwork. Right. And I think that's probably the difference. There's only, I don't know any, I know BeSmartee as far as what I've seen, POS has the most complete package there. So there's a lot of POSs that don't do that. They don't pull credit. They don't do price. They don't do disclosures. That's really, I think that probably why we have low adoption is that they just haven't fully built the automation into the POS to make it actually, work the way they should.
Well, look, I think this is very important to say. Look, you've all joined this call. You all want to learn something. And if you answered no to the question we just asked about a POS, guys, Tim is giving back to the industry by being on here and talking about what you should get from a POS, but he's talking about it because that's what BeSmartee does. BeSmartee is best in class. So if you're literally on the cusp of making a decision, make sure you're contacting BeSmartee. Listen to what Tim is about to say here. Contact them. Go through the process of learning, right? We put these webinars on to educate, but also inform you of the people you can contact to get the solutions. You don't want to there are people that take action. There are people that just get smarter, okay? You want to be the person that learns but takes action, right? There's a lot of people that just consume information and go, I know that thing. But what are you doing with that thing that you know? Here's information that you can take action on right now. You're going to hear the same things from Josh and what Insellerate can do for you, which is a best-in-class CRM system. So as we go through this, guys, chime in. Thank you, Dylan, for chiming in, and make sure you're taking action from the things you hear. You go, you know what? My system doesn't do that, but it should. And I know someone that does it now. Let me at least dig in, right? Okay. So what are the major efficiencies gained from an optimized mortgage POS? I think you kind of just mentioned that. Josh mentioned some of those things. Tim, you just mentioned some of those things. Do you want to take 30 seconds and kind of run through what are the efficiencies gained, what you should be getting? And if you're not getting it, take a look at your partnerships. Go ahead.
I'll keep this short since we did kind of cover it, but look at it on two sides of a coin. The first side is you need to be able to take in applications, right? This allows you 24/7 applications. We know this, any type of device. And it simply widens your net so you can capture more, okay? Well, once you have more, you got more to process. You got to weed through all that stuff, right? And that's where a real POS, a true digital mortgage POS, really sets the standard. Is they automate the processes that you don't need to do time and time again. It sends data back to systems like Sales Boomerang and Insellerate, so you can leverage that data in various cycles. It's that automation piece that I think is where the true efficiency comes. If all you're doing is taking 1003, moving inside your LS, massaging data, doing things the old-fashioned way, you're really paying that vendor a lot of money to save you 30 minutes, 45 minutes of time. But if you let the POS vendor actually automate the credit, the AUS, the fee aggregations, the property taxes, the lights out disclosures that our system does, now you're saving hours and hours and hours and days even.
Yeah.
And that returns two things, right? Gives you more time to focus on deals that need help. Gives you more time to focus on relationships. Gives you more time to go hunt for more deals.
I mean, listen, what Tim just said is very special. What he's saying is, if you invest in a POS, okay, and you're only using it for one thing, it's like getting an 18-wheeler to move your box of books from your office, okay? You don't need that truck, okay? If that's all you're going to use a POS for is a 1003, don't waste your money. That's what Tim is saying. But if you are investing in a POS relationship, let the POS do everything it's designed to do, and you'll very quickly know if you got the right partner. If they can only do a 1003, great. You have yourself an application that appears on a website, nothing more. 1990 stuff, just like Josh said. But if you have a real partner, they're going to do so much more. It's going to be automated. It's going to communicate with your other partners, with your other systems. It's going to create efficiencies. It's going to create value. It's going to make you set a brand new standard for the borrower. Think about this, guys. What Josh is talking about, what Tim is talking about, what I'm talking about is setting a new standard. When your borrower deals with you and you're using a POS like BeSmartee, automatically the communication coming from Insellerate, Sales Boomerang telling you when to contact them again, how to refer it back to your realtor. When you have all of this, and all of a sudden your borrower goes to another place and there is no point of sale, there's no automation, there's no intelligence, you're guessing. Believe me, your customer will be like, I'm going back. Like, are you kidding me? This is horrible. I'll give you a great example. I think this is an example from Catherine that she from Assurance. We were just over there, and she said her mom came to visit her in Florida. Okay, and she bypassed the line and bypassed check-in and go right to your room. And she said, sure, and she did, and she got to the hotel, and there's go check in, and then there's, if you're already checked in, just go right to your hotel room. And she gets there and she uses the code from her phone. She's in her hotel. She didn't stop at all. There was no friction. What do you think is going to happen the next time she goes to a hotel that makes her go to the front desk and go through the process? She's going to hate it. And let me tell you something else. If she goes back to that exact hotel next year and they stop doing that, she'll never stay there again, because they set a new standard. I want to bypass the line. I want things to be easy. So guys, this is why we're talking. Set a new standard. You guys have all heard Dave Savage say this, and I'll say it again because I think it's so brilliant. Technology is not going to replace people. People using technology are going to replace people that don't. That's all this is. That's all this is about. So take notes, guys. This is very important. All right. Question number 4. Should the mortgage POS experience be the same for past borrowers and new prospects? Guys, what do you think?
Yeah. Absolutely not. First off.
Yeah.
Tell us why. You're the expert. Tell us.
So a strong POS for a repeat borrower should make their lives extremely easy to try again. Whether the first loan was closed or not, whether it's been 6 months, 6 weeks, or 6 years. Okay. You already know, imagine how frustrated we get as a consumer. You call your bank, you give them information, you get transferred to another department, you got to give the same information again. You're going to give them information they should already know, right?
Oh,
and we
sure.
understand there's, InfoSec and security requirements and all that good stuff. But the point is, you got to know your customer.
Yes.
Right, KYC, not just from an InfoSec perspective, from a relationship perspective. All goes to people doing business, people they trust and like, right?
Yes.
So absolutely, it cannot be the same. Your repeat borrowers expect pre-population of data, a shorter funnel. They expect you to already know your scenario. They expect you to have dug through that data, the CRM logs, the Sales Boomerang logs, and use that intelligence because they've granted you access to their information. You got to look at it like that. They trust you to give you their whole life picture.
Yes.
They expect you to look at that and do what's right for them, right? And this information, so you absolutely got to treat them in a different funnel in a different way.
So let me remind everyone, and then Josh, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Let me remind everyone of an experience that I'm sure everyone on this call has had. Please put into the chat if you have had this. Years ago, you would call an organization, a pretty large organization. Let's even call it a bank. And somebody gets on the phone and says, "Hey, can I get your name? Your maybe a security question. And then what are you calling about? I'm calling about this. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me transfer you." They transfer you. The person on the other side goes, "Hey, what's your name? What's the security question? What do you call?" "Oh, one more." And you're like, "Are you kidding me? I just gave it 3 times. Do you not communicate with each other?" Guys, do you know why that system is gone? Because it doesn't work. We hated it. We hated it. So your existing customer to have the exact same experience as a new customer, it's going back to that. Hey, what's your name? What's the security question? What are you calling about? Should not happen. Am I right, Josh? And how does Insellerate?
Absolutely. I agree with you. I mean, if you're a past customer, one of the things you want to get when you come to a repeat business is feel special. Hey, they know me. There's some relationship. I'm special. They already, I can go talk to Alex. Alex already knows where I work. He's already got a picture of me because, Alex, last year we had a great conversation on the phone when I bought my house. So when I go online, if I have pre-populated information, guess what? Oh, they know me. They know me. They care. This will be easier. I definitely, it makes a big difference.
Let me add something else. So this is very important because Josh, you've been saying this. I hear a lot of people saying this. People are always saying, when you call back to Alex, because I'm your loan originator. Guys, everyone that's on the call, I don't know how many are originators and how many are leaders or branch managers, CEOs, owners, presidents. I'm not sure of the mix, but something very important to understand. If Alex is no longer with your company, you have to have a system like a wonderful CRM that has all the notes and information about that customer. When they call, it's not starting from scratch. Even if Alex is no longer there, there has to be a system in place that says, "Oh, this is when you did business with us. I see some great notes. How's yours?" I know it says here when Alex was your loan officer, it says you had Susie that was going to be going to college. Did she get into the college? Right. That's the relationship you want. I know you said here that you want to move out to the West Coast in the next 10 years, and you're hoping to build up enough equity to go ahead and buy a house for cash there. Still the same plan, right? Like that's why you need technology. Yes, you can have Post-it notes. Yes, you can keep notes in Excel, but you'll never retrieve them fast enough. You need technology to communicate together, right? A great POS is communicating with somebody like Insellerate and saying, "Hey, this is when the application was taken. This is what was purchased." A lot of integration communication. But remember, guys, it cannot be the same. Cannot be the same. I love that, Tim, you point blank said, no, cannot have the same experience for an existing customer and a new customer. All right. Another question. Go ahead. I think this is a poll. Nicole, throw up the poll. I know you guys already answered it. Let's just review your answers. And Josh, this we got to dig in here. And hey, there's 16 of you that answered on the first go round. Okay. And we want to hear from you in chat. When you say, do you think your CRM is fully optimized? 0 said, yes, it's great. I cannot wait to hear from Josh about this. And I can assume why, right? I think because the CRM is it's so big, you may think it's not optimized. But let me tell you something, and this is why Josh is best in class. You can absolutely optimize it and then grow into it. So I want to hear from Josh on that. And then the nearly 70% of you said it's good, but could be better. So Josh, when you see these answers, like, are you shocked?
Not surprised.
Not surprised either. Okay.
Not surprised at all. I mean, I really look at the industry as a whole. I think that part of the challenge has been we have a lot of old technology in our industry.
Yeah.
And the term CRM I don't know what it actually means in our industry, because We look at some companies and they say they have a CRM. And I go, no, that's not a CRM. That's a marketing automation platform. Right? A CRM does this, does workflows and reporting and data movement and management. So I think that's probably one of them. It's just that there's a lot of older technology out there. The second thing is what we're talking about on this call right here is really integrated data and technology. Right. So in order to have someone have a good experience the second time they go through a loan, I have to have integrated data and technology so that I can serve that up to them. I have to have integrated technology to Sales Boomerang so I can alert my lenders of what's going on, and integrate to BeSmartee so that way, if that consumer goes online and starts to apply, I know that person's already started to apply, and I can have a workflow based off of what takes place if they finish the app, if they don't finish the app. Right. So I think I'm not surprised because there hasn't been, and you guys, this, there hasn't been a ton of integrated solutions. And a lot of lenders, we do our annual MBA shopping where we go online and apply for mortgages. And we did one recently in June. 60% of lenders don't even respond to an online lead.
What is that statistic?
60% of lenders did not respond to an online lead. So we've now polled about 3,000 lenders over 4 years, and it's over 60% on average do not respond. The people do respond, only the average response is 1.3 times. 11% of people use text messages. Only 1% of lenders use text, emails, and phone call to get a hold of the customer. So you look at those numbers and it's like, yeah, I could totally understand.
Unbelievable.
I can understand why people say it's not optimized, because it's not. I mean, that should be, it's like table stakes. I go online and say, I want a mortgage. I should get a call, an email, a text, a Facebook post. I should get a link to my BeSmartee POS, say, hey, here, take your application. Alex, let's move forward. So we see that a lot, but it's just, there's a lot of disparate systems, and there's a lot of systems that just aren't easily integrated. So it's hard to get the data to track through.
So when we think about this, and again, we're on this call and we're telling you, you got to turn your customer base into Boomtown. And Boomtown is about having an experience from the start. At the tip of the spear is this POS, right? The POS experience has to be great, but the POS experience on its own is just a POS experience connected into a CRM like Insellerate. You now have a more dimensional experience for the consumer that now adds in layers of automation and follow-up, and again, going back to the word experience. And so it is what we're driving home at, guys. And again, just chime in if you think the stats that Josh just mentioned are insane to you. Chime in, because to me it's shocking. No response, no text, very little technology, and then their answer is, I don't think my CRM is integrated or doing. Yeah. Well, again, we're going back to the place. Why are you calling an 18-wheeler to move a small box? Don't even order that if you're not going to use it. If you're getting a partner, make your partner work for you guys. Listen, when the three of us come together, your business is optimized. Your retention is going through the roof. Your customer experience is going through the roof. Referrals, your agents are getting business. Everything is being communicated frictionlessly. But if you're currently not having that experience, then you're in the right place listening to the right people. Your CRM should be doing this. If you're only using 2% of your CRM, shame on you, not on the CRM. Shake the tree up a little bit. Say, hey, make me do better. Josh, Tim, all of us are here to support you guys. We're not here to just say, here, buy it, see you later, let's not talk. We actually want you to challenge us. Every one of us has the desire to be pushed to improve our system for you and for all the other people that are going to come after you. So what are the table stakes for any CRM in today's purchase heavy market? What do you think, Josh?
We'll go a couple things. First, I think mobile, right? So there's a lot of systems out there that aren't mobile. So if I'm a retail boots on the ground, I'm out there meeting someone at the soccer field, or I'm going through an open house or whatever it may be. If I don't have the ability to easily access my data, start an application, see what's going on, then I'm really kind of behind the eight ball, right? What I'm going to do, I'm going to write down a note, then go to Starbucks and pull up my laptop and start doing all this work. That's not really efficient. The second thing I think that we're seeing that's really table stakes right now for the purchase market is really just the overall coordination and communication that are coming from the CRM, right? Having a platform that's actually telling your buyer's agent what's going on and your seller's agent what's going on in real time without a loan officer having to keep people updated. And we get lenders that their real estate agents, they'll send us these emails saying, hey, I love the system, and they'll get an email from a real estate agent. So this is great. I've never had this kind of updates from a lender before. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Like, that's really simple, because what you're trying to do is get them to not think about, do I need to call Josh to see if he's getting my loan done? If I'm over communicating to my referral partners and it's automated, I don't have to feel like I have to call Josh. I know Josh is always working on my files.
Okay, hold on. Let's pause that. Let's unpack that for you because that's something brilliant. Everyone listening, listen to what Josh said. Josh just said, if you over communicate to your partners, they will not fear the fact that you may have forgotten about them. You're not doing the loan. It's not moving forward. I think this is a new word and a very important phrase or concept that we need to push forward from this day moving forward. Don't just communicate, over communicate to the point where they text you and say, dude, I know everything is good. Okay, I'm so glad everything is good. Just stop it.
That's
like,
right.
Until that happens.
Yeah,
Yes.
they want to know. I mean, I'll tell a quick story. When I was a loan officer, I had this customer call me every morning, 10 o'clock. She'd call me, what's going on with my loan? I'm like, well, it's still in underwriting. And every morning, 10 o'clock, she'd give me a call. After 2 weeks, I said, this is kind of annoying. I'm giving her the information. So I called her at 9:45, left her a message. She didn't call me at 10 o'clock. The next day I called her at 9:45, left her a message. She never called me again because she knew she didn't have to come say, hey, Josh, are you looking? She knew I was working on her loan. And that's what you want to convey. And automation does that now, right? Automation would have automated tell I was working on a loan, but back then I actually had to do it physically, but that's what you want. I think that really makes people feel safe and secure. Hey, this loan's getting closed. They're working on it. They're not they're thinking about me. They haven't forgotten about me.
Well, and guys, something else important. Josh just gave you an example of how Insellerate builds its systems. It's not guessing. Josh has 23 years of experience. He's like, this worked for me. I became a top producer because of this. And why wouldn't I want to give the same tools to you now? So this isn't a guess that, hey, people like to be over communicated to. He knows, it's proven. So make sure your systems do that. If they don't, you guys are in the right place. Make sure you reach out to Insellerate and ask questions. Joe, by the way, agrees with you. Josh says, point blank, got to be mobile. I don't have my laptop with me everywhere, but my phone's in my pocket. And if it's not mobile, I'm having a problem. So I love that. Any thoughts on that, by the way, Tim? Any thoughts on what Josh has just been talking about in some of the comments in chat?
No, it's spot on. But the interesting trend I keep on hearing is communication. Whether it's digital communication with rates and product stack, digital communication of leading indicators that Sales Boomerang provides, or just communicating status to a consumer, right? It's funny, right? We're in this day and age where we're more connected than ever, but we also feel less connected than ever because that information, we need that information at the right time, in the right place, in the right way.
Yes.
And that's a hard thing to accomplish, but with intelligence, I think the Sales Boomerang brings the CRM capabilities to monitor the lifecycle loan and the POS data that funnels up. That information is there. People just want to know that you got their back.
I love that. People want to know you have their back, right? We talk about no borrower left behind. That means you have their back. No partner left behind. That means you have their back. No referral partner, right? You want to keep that mentality at every stage of the game and experience the industry, the customer, which, by the way, come on, let's all look at each other here for a second. We are customers of our own industry. We are customers of our own industry. Do we like this? Have you sat in your own seat? Have you gone through the process? If you don't love it, what do you think is going to happen to someone that is just kind of going through it just because they need to? You know all the ins and outs. And let me tell you something. There's something called the curse of knowledge. If you go through the loan process, you're going to just naturally go, that's not a good experience. You're going to lean away from it. But consumers don't know that. So if you don't like the experience, how will anyone else? If you don't like the follow-up you're getting from your partners, then it's time to reassess. Are you working with people that are giving you everything you need at every single point? And very important, and Tim and Josh, I hope you adopt this. I've really stopped saying vendor altogether. A vendor gives you what you want. Hear me now. A vendor gives you what you want. A partner gives you what you need. A partner challenges you. A partner says, great, you asked for this, but why? Oh, because everyone else is doing it. Well, that's silly. You have a different model. This is what you should do. That's what a partner would say. A vendor would be like, great, that's the cost, pay the invoice, good to go. But that's not helping anyone. What you have on a panel here right now are partners, people that care about pushing you to get better results. All right. Let's keep going. Should all mortgage companies have the same requirements for their CRM in terms of improving the experience for loan officers, borrowers, and stakeholders? Should all mortgage companies have the same requirements for their CRM? What do you think about this? We'll go to you, Josh. You're the expert here on this, and then of course, Tim, jump in with your thoughts.
I think the answer is yes. Absolutely, you should have a requirement that you as a lender You want a CRM in place, just plain and simple. Now, each loan officer, based off of the retail, consumer direct, the ID reverse mortgage, they may have a different workflow in the CRM, and they may use it for some slightly different functions. But the overall arching thing of, I'm a lender, I want to have all my consumers' information that raised their hand in some place so I can take action on it today and tomorrow. But that's the power in this. Is, earlier in this, we talked about the database. Your database is unbelievably worth a ton of money.
Oh.
There's so much money in your database. It's ridiculous. So if you don't have a CRM that's being used across everybody, how do you ever capture that? How do you as a lender make use of it? Let alone how do you help your loan officers make use of it? But how do you as a lender make use of that data you've spent, the time, the customers you've had in the past, if you don't have a system to manage that?
I love that. Tim or Josh, real quick question. Do you guys know off the top of your head, what does it cost to produce a loan these days? Like, how much are somebody paying to get the customer in, processing it, finishing it, and funding it?
So do you know?
Go ahead, Josh, because I got some interesting data there, but you start.
So in 2018, I think the MBA fourth quarter was $8,900. 2019, I think it creeped up to $9,200 cost to produce a loan. In 2009, just throwing it out there, was $3,700 the cost to produce a loan. So just we want to look at our industry. It's kind of scary that we have doubled the cost to produce loans, yet we have more technology and we should be more advanced. So I think I just say that to let a lot of lenders know there's a lot of efficiencies you can pick up by doing this stuff better.
Now I'm going to make an interesting point.
It's an interesting question because we're shifting from production focus to operational efficiency focus. And I agree with Josh. The number I constantly see in here from the industry is 8,000 to 10,000 in today's environment. We have one client who has managed to get that down for a cost to close to $2,600 in the current environment, not 2020.
Who would love to have that number?
Right
put into chat if you'd love to be funding loans and doing loans at 2,600. Tell us in chat. And if we don't hear from every single one of you, I know you guys are on your computer texting people, watching. You're not paying attention. $2,600 to fund a loan. Let's keep going, Tim. Drive your point home.
Yeah, the point is, if you use the right technology partners, if you craft your strategy correctly, it is possible, right? If you look at like the betters of the world, it was growth at all costs, even if they lost money. They were heavily backed, different game, right? We can't play that game. We got to play the cash flow game. Every deal has to be as uber, profitable as possible. And how do you do that? Well, it starts with mining your gold mine. Your past relations where trust has already been established. That cost of lead marketing goes down dramatically. Using the CRM,
statistically proven,
Insellerate,
6 to 7 times more expensive, right, Tim? Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, keep going.
Oh, no worries. Josh's platform, right? Insellerate can give you that intelligence. Can give you the prompts that you need, or the re-engagement tools that you need. The labor involved to bring that person to get re-engaged goes down. You bring them to the proper LOS that can actually go beyond just a 1003. Then you get the automation, the stuff you got to do that takes hours and hours goes down. And if you use the verification tools in the right way, the cost to process and underwrite goes down, right? Ultimately, you want to hit the underwriters as little as possible, right? Garbage in, garbage out. We all want to get paid, we all want to get closed loans earlier, faster, everybody wins. So you really, you really got to look at the tiered approach.
And if you're more profitable, you can give back to your team. You can build your business in a healthier fashion. You're not just a shoestring and just you're on thin ice here. If a market shifts, you've been doing loans unprofitably, you're like, we're in danger. You should never be in that position. Guys, check this out. We just said it's about $9,000 to do a loan. If you've done 10,000 loans, that's $90 million you've just spent. It's what's living in your database. $90 million you spent to get that loan. Let me ask everyone on this call. Does anyone here drive a $90 million car or live in a $90 million house? Let's assume you did for a second. Would you just let that car or house sit unmanaged? No, of course not. You would go crazy if somebody started breaking your windows, if your car got a flat tire, if somebody even scratched it. If a squirrel looked at your car funny, it was 90 million, you'd go nuts, okay? But for some reason, We all spend $90 million to fill our database, and then we go up. Let's see what's happening out there, right? We all look out there and say, what's out there? What's happening out there? What's happening in here? Okay. What's happening with the 90 million you spent? How do you manage that? How do you get those customers to come back to you and not have to spend 90 million again? 6 to 7 times more expensive to start a new relationship than it is to work with an existing one. So if you spent 90 million, spend half the next time and even less the next time. Get to 2,600. Okay. Think about that, guys. So look, we moved at a good pace. We said we're going to try to leave 10 minutes. We're leaving 12 minutes for some Q&A. I want to get into it with those folks right now that are on this call that are saying, hey, what did we get out of this conversation? Okay, so let's kind of break this down. Number one, you need a way to understand and anticipate your customers' needs. That is creating a brand new standard. Okay, the biggest fintechs in the world are spending hundreds of millions of dollars on data scientists to win against you. Guys, you have an entire data science army that has a mission that is your mission, no borrow left behind, that will deliver all of those insights to you. In an environment that we are right now, it's the most profitable way to start doing loans. But you can't be successful without automation and technology that helps you take all of those opportunities and bring them to life over and over and over again. And yes, like Tim said, you can do a loan by on paper, and you should if you got somebody on the phone that's ready to go. But you also can drive across country every time you need to go somewhere, but instead, most of us fly. So use the technology to speed things up and make things more efficient. And of course, there's nothing without a great CRM partner that ties this all together, where your team spends time. This is why all three of us are on here, turning your database into your gold mine into a boom town, right? Instead of a ghost town. That's why we're all in here. So that kind of recapped everything we discussed. Any questions, anything, Josh, while we're waiting for some questions to pop up, anything you want to add, here while we're wrapping up?
I think, I think the only thing I want to kind of add is just like, I think obviously the stats we've given everyone here and what we're talking about here, Alex, should definitely inspire people to want to go, hey, I want to go after my database. Like that, I need to. And what's nice is the technology is there right now off the shelf. You're talking to three, you're looking at three of us off the shelf technology. You can go buy and deploy and compete with the biggest players in the marketplace with tech.
Yes.
And then the little added bonus I like to say about when you get repeat business, your repeat business will be your highest source of referrals.
Yes.
Because if they're coming back to you twice, they liked you. And they're going to be more apt to tell their neighbor, oh, you need, talk to Tim. He's done a great job for me. He's my friend. Tim knows me. Tim follows up with me. Tim keeps in contact with me. Tim knows my kids' names. That's the person you should talk to because Tim cares. Yes. So it's not just your database. It's you will get other loans because people are saying, wow, I got great service. You need to talk to my guy too.
And what about all the referral partners? If you're implementing this for your mutual customers, then your referral partners are like, you know what? I'm going back to Tim all the time. Like I'm not trying this again. Remember, when you set a standard, when you set this high standard, anytime somebody has a worse experience, they remember the better experience. They go, never again. Let me go back here. Okay. So create the experience from the start, right? Again, that spearhead, Tim, right? We're talking about with the point of sale. Guys, POS, right? Point of sale. It is the spearhead of starting the relationship, and it has to feel great. It has to feel great. Any thoughts? I'm not seeing lots of questions. We must have really blown people's minds here. Tim, anything you want to add?
No, just to piggyback off of what you and Josh have said, right? Once you get those pieces in place, then the question becomes, how do you deliver the transaction as effectively, as efficiently as possible?
Yeah.
I encourage people to take a look at the way they originate and think beyond the 1003, right? If all you're doing is just getting data that you can collect over the phone in 20, 30 minutes, why are you spending that money? Expect automation, expect processes to be combined and collapsed and go from days down to hours and minutes. Okay, not because you're not important, it's because you're so important. You should be doing those things. You should be a trusted advisor to your consumer. You should be answering the hard questions, figuring out what loan to get into, what their financial situation looks like, what their goals in 5, 10 years looks like. Let the number crunching, let the automation, let technology do that. Focus on the relationship. And that's what a good POS should do for you.
God, my goodness, what you just said, I think is so powerful. it's not that you're not good enough. You're more important than that. Let the number crunching be done so that you can focus on the things that are more valuable to your customer or your partner. I love that. That's a great way to say that, Tim. People are afraid of the technology, but the technology takes care of the things that are less relevant and valuable than you building a relationship and listening and looking forward, saying, look, we got this loan for you. Let's talk about what happens next, right? How do you like, what's the plans? Our kids are going to college. Okay, great. What are you going to do then? Right. Having those conversations that the number crunching systems don't have, right? And so giving you a chance to be more human with the people that you're working with. Look, looks like the audience is pretty quiet. I think we've answered a lot of their questions. I just encourage everyone that enjoyed this, give us some feedback if you enjoyed this, if this made sense. Share this information with your team. Don't just sit on it. Don't just be like, this was great. I took an hour out of my day to listen to a few guys talk about some cool things that they're putting out there. If it made sense, take action today. Don't wait. Reach out to Insellerate, reach out to BeSmartee, reach out to Sales Boomerang, and just learn more. If this made sense, if any one of those pieces made sense, if you're like, hey, I need a whole tech stack to accomplish all the goals I want to do, Us Three is a great place to start. You're going to get everything you need to get your business on the right track, and you'll at least know you're competitive with the best of the best that are out there, period. You won't have to be like, why can't I compete? No, you can. You can. And like Josh said a great, right off the shelf, ready to go, world-class services and world-class support. Our teams are designed to help you guys. And remember, not vendors, partners. We will push you to do better. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Tim, thank you so much for being here. Josh, thank you so much for being here. Everyone, great. Joe's just giving us a little bit of a shout out there. Great info. Thank you. I took notes and we'll be using the information. I like your statement. Do not just learn, take action. Exactly right. Don't just learn. It's good to get smarter, but put what you learn to action.
Lots of smart people sitting in a college classroom right now, not contributing, right?
That's right. That's right. Well, what was that? What's that joke that somebody told me a long time ago? A students teach B students how to work for C students. Right? If you're super smart because you learned a lot of stuff, you're probably a professor somewhere, but that's about it, right? So take action, get out there and have fun with what you've learned, and don't look back and say, hey, I learned that, but I don't know why I didn't take action on it. So Joe, thanks for the call out. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day and week.
Thanks, guys. Thanks,
Take care, everybody. Bye.